Hey folks, got a quick example of graphing if you need help actually graphing in Google Sheets. So I'm going to do two graphs with you really quick. Now when you go to do this, make sure, like for instance, if you're graphing trial one over here, which is position versus time, all right, you want to make sure that there's nothing next to those two columns of data. So make sure there's a blank column in there. So if you want to graph these and get the equation for the line or curve, you simply highlight the data like so with your mouse, and then you got to go find insert chart. Now for me, I have to click on these little dots here, and the chart symbol looks like that. Well, it looks like a little bar graph, and you click on that, okay? And Google will insert a chart for you. Now, we are graphing position versus time, okay? You then have to tell it to put an equation on there for us. So there you go to customize. Over here in your chart editor, you click on customize and you go to series. So you go to series and you scroll on down, and where it says trend line, you click on that. Okay. Now, if your trend line is linear or your data looks linear, you just leave it as linear. Otherwise, in the next example, I'll show you how to change that if it's a curve. And then you got to tell it to put the equation on there. So then you got to go down to where it says label. And you click on the label and you click on use equation. And voila, there is your graph. A couple notes. What's in front of the X here, because this is a line, whatever's in front of the X, that's your slope. Okay, so the slope of this graph is 20.2. The units are rise over run, which is meters per second. So it would be 20.2 meters per second. And then they might ask you, well, what does that mean? Well, meters per second measures a velocity, okay? Now, what if your data is curvy? Okay, so let's try that. So let's say I give you this data, and we're still graphing position versus time here. And so we're going to insert our chart again. Okay, I'm going to go, now this you can tell is curved. I go to customize, click on series again. And then I scroll down to where it says trend line. I click on that. Now this time it's going to give me a line, but our data is not linear. So if for our lab, the other one we're going to use for now is polynomial. So I'll click on polynomial, and which is a similar, it's quadratic, it's the relationship, but we're going to use polynomial in this case. And then we scroll down and we click on use equation again underneath label. So you click on label, use equation, and there's our equation, okay? And we've talked about in class what these different numbers mean. So from these numbers on this graph, or on this equation, you can get the acceleration of the object and the starting velocity of the object. So I hope that example was helpful. Thank you very much.